when I started back in '99, he said it was 60 homicides, and obviously currently we have 87 homicides, and just asking the question of what has changed between having 60 and now hovering on a back-to-back year of 100, over 100. I think, first thing I'll say that we had about a 6-year run between 2013 and 2019 where we seen our homicides come down to around average between 68 and 70. So we did have, a really good run because we had a really strong strategy, and I really believe we still have a strong strategy. Prior to the pandemic, the COVID pandemic, we were on a run for 6 years with low homicide numbers. The pandemic really did have an impact on our crime reduction strategy because I think just like many professions, law enforcement didn't know how to adjust to a COVID environment either. The violence didn't stop, but all of a sudden we can't get close to people. All of a sudden, officers don't want to necessarily pursue people. We had many officers getting sick as a result of COVID. So a lot of things changed during the COVID pandemic that we had to adjust to. Our ceasefire strategy is really predicated on meeting with the guys that we know are involved in violence and really giving them an opportunity to make different decisions and take resources. In the midst of COVID for nearly a year, we weren't meeting with the guys at all. There was also no opportunity to do what we call violence intervention and violence interruption, which is when we do see a conflict among groups and gangs, we would send in the violence interrupters to go in and try to mediate that conflict, see if they could, get to some truce between the two groups, see if they could resolve the conflict. During the COVID pandemic, we weren't able to do that at all. So conflicts that traditionally we would have been able to jump on, we weren't able to jump on. We've also seen, different communities affected in different ways. We have seen anxiety levels in the community actually get worse, right? We've seen people's tempers are during the pandemic has been really short. And then we had, unfortunately, right in the middle of the pandemic, we've seen the evolution of what we call ghost guns. These firearms that are untrackable, that are not sold through any gun dealer, they are sold in packets where people can put these firearms together, and they're fully working rifles and handguns that are not trackable to law enforcement, has really had an impact on us. And I think those involved in violence begin to understand that these firearms were easy to get their hands on, and they were also difficult for law enforcement to track how they got them and who has them. And so we've seen a proliferation of guns in Oakland that are not trackable. And so that really has been a challenge for us trying to manage that as well. I've been to the White House and actually, met with the president and his team about this particular issue about how do we get some legislation around ghost guns so that when people are caught with them, there is some consequences as a result. As we speak today, there still is no consequence for creating this gun, for possessing this gun. So there's still some serious challenges for us around these weapons that are now being used in our community every day, if you would.